of this, the public-private partnership. What can you tell us about that? You established a PPP office not too long ago. What does that entail?
Yes, you see, we've recognized the successes of the private sector, and we've seen the efficiency of the public sector. And we know that creating a public-private partnership would leverage on the public sector and the private sector to come up with an efficient system that would suit the much desired successes that are expected in the public sector. And against this background, we've always driven quite a few things in investment areas under a public-private partnership. For instance, the Shonga Farms was established under a public-private partnership. And we've seen the successes, we've seen the challenges. And quite a few people have signified interest to come into Kwara State, largely because of the abundance of resources in terms of human and material, and most importantly, the convenient security system. So it's allowed everybody, quite a few people, to signify interest in coming to us and trying to create a one-stop shop where all information required to drive investments are made available is what drove us to setting up a PPP office. You see, the PPP thing has always been here, but we're just trying to reconsolidate it into a platform that makes it into a one-stop shop to enable prospective investors have access to information that enable them carry on their businesses.
So it's not, in a way, another avenue that by some people who just feel that let's just set up another office, or perhaps to just get some money somewhere and just keep for.
No, it's just to consolidate what we've always done in the past. Don't forget that public-private partnership had always been on in the state in the last 5-10 years. But the most important thing is that how do we put it into a platform that makes it accessible for a prospective investor that is coming in, who would not require to go around different offices that are offering services for informed decision making. So we decided to encapsulate this into one office, which we call the Public-Private Partnership Office, and allows prospective investors easy access to information.
Now, of course, still going back to the issue of agriculture, which we seem to have a lot of interest in, vis-a-vis your government. Now, the youth will definitely have to be carried along in all of this, to ensure that they get some kind of, shall I say, leverage, in making sure that the economy of the state grows, using agriculture. But aside that, what other measures are being put in place?
You see, for agriculture, we've seen it as something that...
Because I asked this in terms of, the general belief or the general norm of most of our youth intending to go for other sectors aside agriculture, and all of that. So
we recognized this when we came in, and it's been something that's been on the table in the last administration, and that was what led to setting up what we call the Malete Youth Farm. The Malete Youth Farm was set up alongside the introduction of commercial farming. It's a school that's designed to teach hands-on agric technical understanding that would ensure that our youths begin to see agriculture beyond just the old man's business in the village, but as a means of economic drive where they can sit on laptops, begin to generate figures, begin to see what can be put in as input and what is going to come out as impact, as the output, and what the impact will be. So they can, from an empirical perspective, design and work on farming as an economic driving model. So to a very large extent, the Malete Youth Farm is designed to change the psyche of our youths from looking at agriculture as being an old man's business in the village to an economic activity that we could engage in like any other business, either in manufacturing or in driving any entrepreneurial venture. So to that extent, we've succeeded in training quite a number of youths who currently are designed to be change agents in each of the local environments. Their expectations are based on the fact that they've seen how agriculture is now being used as an economic drive. We've set up debentures in terms of funding to be made available to those who have finished their training. And this will enable them to start their own farms with support of local government. But most importantly, they will be change agents, because they will also be employers of other youths. Don't forget that Kwara State has a population of close to about 3 million, of which over 60 to 7% are youths between the ages of 15 and 65. So all the planning in agriculture has been done to carry their interests into consideration, to ensure that they are the participants, they are the beneficiaries, and they are the drivers. And this will begin to see a new wave of agroeconomy coming in. It's a little bit tasking because of resource requirements, but with the little resources we have, we're able to optimally channel them to areas and such manners that people are able to see what the whole goal of driving an agroeconomy is all about.
Now, the state is actually strategically located, serving as a gateway to the southern parts, of the country, southwest, and indeed the northern parts. But the issue of roads, which you talked about earlier, it's still a very big problem. Now, why do you think we're having these challenges in trying to get some of our roads fixed in Kwara State?
Yes. You see, our roads have been categorized into federal, states, and local roads. Most of the roads we have that are bad are largely federal roads. And it's because in the last systems, past administrations, we spent a lot of money in deploying infrastructure. Unfortunately, we did not give the same attention to maintenance. So that lack of maintenance has led to the deplorable condition of a lot of our roads, especially the federal roads. At the state levels, we've made attempts severally, and we're still being carried on, to continue to maintain our roads. The Road Maintenance Agency in the state is charged with the responsibility of carrying on a zero pothole model. So they must continue to maintain our roads. If we continue this level of maintenance, our roads will not get to the current deplorable states we have found the federal roads. However, the federal government has made a significant support in trying to see that most of the federal roads are put back to shape. I want to assure you today that the road, for instance, between Ajashe and Erinle, which falls in Osun State boundary, is being attended to by the federal government. And also, the state is deploying part of its own resources too to help complete the areas that are not done by the Federal Road Maintenance Agency. So this kind of synergy, once it's carried on most of our roads, I will let you know that we will not be going through the kind of challenges we are faced with today.
Now, how would you react to the accusations from some quarters that it seems there's a whole lot of attention being given to just the state capital, Ilorin, and other parts of the state and other local government areas are just made to suffer in terms of development?
Well, it's very easy for people to make such assertions if they've not been to the state. Deliberate efforts were given to development that would carry every senatorial district of the state along. Firstly, you look at the issue of roads. Roads in the municipal area, Ilorin, have been put into very good shapes. As you can see, the roads are well laid out and they're clean. And I will let you know that only last year we deployed over 2.5 billion to do rural roads. All these roads are 90% found in all the 16 local governments. We've been carrying on renovation of schools. This has been carrying on largely in rural environments. We've been sinking boreholes. Over 200 boreholes have been sunk in the last 11 months. All these boreholes were sunk in rural environments.
But I also want to say that, talking about the boreholes, is that actually the lasting solution, to ensuring that the people get adequate drinking water? Yes.
You see, water is one infrastructure which is on continuous basis being required by our people because the population is growing. For instance, in Ilorin alone, we've deployed quite a huge number of resources, close to about 5 billion, to grow as a dam to a level when it can generate more water, for now up to 25 million gallons. And this will be made available by the current reticulation programs going on by one of our major contractors. Very soon, water will be made available to every nook and corner of Ilorin metropolis. But most importantly, we've recognized deployment of water at the local government levels. As we're talking now, over 14 waterworks are currently being rehabilitated because the insinuation that we are concentrating largely on the state capital should be understood by the fact that we are not working only on the state capital. We have 14 waterworks